The rain fell hard over the ruined city of Taralan. Buildings stood broken like skeletons of the past. Smoke curled into the sky, and fires burned where once flowers had grown. The war had not just touched Earth, it had crushed it. Kieran moved carefully between the shattered walls, his boots crunching on glass and ash. His heart beat faster with every step. He wasn't a soldier. He never wanted to be, but Earth didn't ask who wanted the war. It dragged everyone into it. He checked the radar again. A red dot blinked, just a head movement, not human. His fingers tightened around the handle of his plasma knife. Every time he saw a red dot now, it could mean death. A whisper echoed behind him. Not a voice. A sound, soft, strange, not from this world. He turned fast, blade ready, but nothing. He held his breath. Then suddenly, a shadow stepped out from the rubble. Tall, graceful, not human. Eyes like liquid gold, skin like pale silver light. Armor of blue crystal shimmered faintly over her body. She did not raise a weapon. She only watched him, cold, silent, royal. Kieran lowered his blade just a little. "Are you one of them?" He asked. She didn't answer. Instead, she raised one hand slowly, pointing at something behind him. He turned quickly and barely missed the energy bolt that flew past his head. It hit the wall behind him and exploded in a flash of violet fire. He dropped to the ground and rolled. He fired back, hitting a figure hiding in the shadows. The body dropped. Smoke rose from its chest. When he turned back, the alien woman was still there. Still calm, still watching. He stood confused. She had saved him. "You're not like the others," he said, breathing hard. "Why?" She tilted her head. Her voice came at last, soft like wind over snow. "I am Princess Valari of the Ilari Empire. I do not kill those who protect the weak." Kieran blinked. "Princess?" She nodded once. "I was to be married to a human." Kieran frowned. "Wait, one of us." "Yes, as part of the peace treaty, but I refused. I would never marry a violent species." He laughed dryly. "Well, I can't blame you." She stepped closer, not threatening, but curious. You did not run. You protected. Even though I am your enemy, I don't see an enemy. I see someone who didn't kill me when she had the chance." Valari stared into his eyes. "What is your name?" "Kieran." There was silence between them. The sky thundered above, but the moment between them was still. Then her eyes flicked to the side. "You must leave. They hunt you. You saved me once. Will you help me again?" "I should not. But I will, once." She turned and motioned for him to follow. Together, they ran through the wreckage, ducking under broken towers and broken bridges. As they moved, Kieran couldn't help but ask, "Why were you really here?" She didn't look at him. "To understand. To see if your kind were only monsters." "I thought yes, until today." They stopped in a dark tunnel. She turned to him, placing her hand on his chest. "We are still at war, human, but I will not forget what you did." Before he could reply, she vanished into the shadows. Kieran stood alone in the tunnel, heart racing. He had met a princess. An alien, one who didn't hate him, one who might, one day, come back. But above them, the sky cracked with fire. The war was not over. And something darker was coming. 3 days had passed since Kieran met the alien princess. The ruins of Taralan were quieter now, but danger still lived in every shadow. He had found a small bunker beneath a broken medical center. Cold, dusty, and dark but safe for now. Kieran sat near a weak power core, recharging his tracker and heating a small can of food. He kept replaying that moment in his head when she saved him. Valari, the Ilari princess. She was unlike any alien he had seen. Beautiful, yes, but strong and proud in a way that didn't feel cruel. She was supposed to marry a human. Someone like him, but she refused. Now she had saved him and disappeared. Maybe it meant nothing. Maybe she had only followed orders of her kind, or maybe she had seen something different in him. A soft beat broke his thoughts. His scanner lit up too. Figures outside the bunker. Not human, not Ilari either. They were from the Narkle clan, violent raiders who hunted anyone they found. He grabbed his knife and readied the hidden turret at the door, but before he could act, the scanner blinked again. A third signal dot it was. Her. He ran to the door's tiny window. There she stood, Valari. Her crystal armor glowing faintly, her eyes locked onto his. Behind her, the two Narkle warriors aimed their weapons. Without a word, she moved fast, blades drawn from her forearms. She struck the first attacker with a twist of motion, cutting deep into its side. The second tried to shoot, but she leapt into the air, flipped, and landed behind it. One quick stab in silence. Kieran opened the door as she stood there, catching her breath. You again? He said, amazed. She nodded, calm as always. They tracked your signal. You should be more careful. I didn't think you'd come back. I said I would help you once, she said. This is twice. He smiled. Then why did you help? Again? Valari looked at him, her face unreadable. I'm not sure. She stepped inside the bunker. The power core flickered as she passed. Her presence felt like electricity, sharp and alive. Is this where you hide? She asked, glancing at the broken walls. Yeah, cozy, right? She didn't laugh. This is no place for a soldier. I'm not a soldier. Her gaze softened. A little. Then what are you, Kieran? He paused, not sure how to answer. Just someone who wants the war to stop. Valari sat on the floor, crossing her legs. You humans are strange. He sat opposite her. You came back. Maybe we're not that strange. She looked around. You have no guards, no defenses strong enough for a princess to trust. I didn't think I needed one tonight. Silence stretched between them. Then she reached into her armor and pulled out a small crystal vial. She handed it to him. What's this? Food, Ilari blend. Stronger than yours. He took it carefully. Thanks. He opened the vial and drank. It was warm, smooth, and filled him with calm energy. Not like human food at all. You didn't have to do that, he said. I wanted to. Why? Valari stood and walked toward the wall, placing her hand gently on the cracked surface. Do you know why I refused the marriage? He shook his head. They said it would bring peace. That I should marry a human general. But I saw the way he looked at me, like I was a prize, not a person. She turned to him. But you never looked at me that way. Kieran stood slowly. I don't see an alien. I see someone trying to find her way, just like me. Valari walked closer. You confuse me, Kieran, he chuckled. I confuse myself most days. She almost smiled. Almost. Then the ground shook. A low rumble rolled through the bunker. Kieran ran to the scanner. Not more Narkle. Valari grabbed her blade. Worse, a beast tank. They're sweeping the ruins? Yes, looking for survivors. For me. Kieran looked at her, surprised. They're hunting you. I left my army. I chose not to kill. That made me a traitor. So you're alone now? I have no one, she said softly. Kieran stepped forward. You have me. Valari looked into his eyes, and for the first time, her voice trembled. Then I must keep you safe. The scanner flashed red. The beast tank was near. But inside the bunker, two hearts beat stronger than fear. And something had begun between them that even war couldn't stop. The beast tank rumbled above like thunder trapped in metal. Kieran and Valari stood side by side inside the bunker, listening to its heavy claws crush the ground. The scanner showed it moving slowly in a wide circle. It hadn't found them yet, but it was close. Kieran lowered the scanner and looked at her. We can't stay here, Valari nodded. It has heat sensors. It will find us soon. Then we run? No, she said, not run. We escape below. She walked toward a section of the wall and knelt down. Kieran followed. She pulled out a small silver cube from her armor and pressed it to the floor. A soft light glowed as the cube hummed. Then a hidden door opened in the ground. A tunnel? Kieran asked, surprised. Ilari scouts build secret ways under all major zones. I found this entrance before the battle started. I hoped I would never need it. Kieran helped her lift the panel. Cold air rushed out from the darkness below. You sure it's safe? No, but it's safer than here. They climbed down. The tunnel was narrow and lit by a pale blue strip of light along the ceiling. It went deep, far beneath the ruins of Taralin. Kieran's steps echoed against the stone floor. Velari walked ahead, her hand gently brushing the wall, guiding them. After a while, the tunnel opened into a larger chamber. It looked old, ancient even. The walls were covered in strange carving symbols not from Earth, and in the middle of the room stood a tall metal pillar glowing softly. What is this place? Kieran asked. Velari stepped forward. This is a temple core, long ago. Before the war, our people shared knowledge with humans. This was a sacred place. Kieran looked at her. Why did that stop? She turned to face him, her voice low. Because the first humans who came here betrayed us. They took the knowledge and used it to build weapons. The same weapons that now destroy both our worlds. Kieran frowned. That wasn't all of us. No, she said. But it was enough to start fire between our kind. She placed her hand on the pillar. It lit up at her touch, and a low hum filled the room. The walls responded, showing images, floating symbols, and glowing stars. Kieran stared in awe. This is beautiful. Velari looked at him. This is part of my crown. My people call it the Echo Memory. It holds my family's knowledge. And judgment. Judgment? Yes, it knows I left the throne. It knows I refused the human general. It has already decided I am unfit to rule. You were trying to stop a war. She turned away. To them, I am weak. Kieran walked to her. You're not weak, you're brave. You made a choice, you followed your heart. Velari looked into his eyes. And what if my heart led me to you? His breath caught. Her words were soft, but her gaze was fierce. Kieran didn't speak right away. Instead, he took her hand slowly. Then I would say, I'm lucky. She squeezed his hand for a second, then pulled away. The tank above will search this area soon, she said, voice firm again. We must keep moving. They left the chamber and followed another tunnel that sloped upward. As they climbed, the air grew warmer and the stone turned to old steel. Finally, they reached a sealed hatch. Velari pressed her hand against the sensor, but nothing happened. It's locked, she said. It needs a royal command code. Do you have one? No, I surrendered my crown. I gave up that right. Kieran thought for a moment, then reached into his pack. He pulled out a thin black panel, a tech chip from a human base he found earlier. What if we trick it? Mix your DNA with this command signal? Velari tilted her head. That's dangerous. Not more dangerous than staying here. She hesitated, then nodded. Do it. They worked together, connecting the chip to the wall sensor. Velari pricked her finger and let one drop of silver blue blood touch the panel. The machine paused then, blinked green. The hatch opened with a hiss of steam. Light poured in. They stepped out into a different world, an old Ilari garden, now overgrown but still glowing with soft energy. It had survived the war, hidden under the mountain. Velari turned slowly, taking in the trees, the flowers, the quiet peace. This was my mother's retreat, she whispered. I haven't seen it since I was a child. Kieran looked at her gently. Looks like your heart brought you home. She nodded. But there was pain in her eyes. I'm no longer princess. I have no people, no army, nothing to offer. Kieran reached for her hand again. You have me. For the first time, Valari smiled small, but real. And somewhere far above them, the war still raged. But here, for a short moment, two souls had found something else. Something stronger than war. Asterisk, the hidden garden shimmered under the soft light of the Alari sky dome. Though it was deep underground, the sky above the garden was artificial, glowing gently with pinks and blues. Trees with golden leaves whispered in the soft wind, and strange birds sang songs that didn't exist on Earth. Valari moved slowly through the garden, touching the petals of a glowing flower. Her fingers trembled. Kieran stayed close, watching her quietly. He had never seen her like this, so open, so human. "This place," she said, voice barely above a whisper, "was built by my mother when she first married into the royal line. It was her gift from the emperor." Kieran walked beside her. "It's beautiful. She used to bring me here when I was young, before war touched everything." "You miss her?" Valari nodded once. "She died during the first human strike. A base was hit. She was nearby. The council said it was just a mistake." Kieran lowered his head. "I'm sorry. I didn't know. She wasn't part of the war. She just wanted peace." They reached a small pond in the middle of the garden. The water reflected their faces, his rugged, scarred by survival. Hers, calm and proud, but now softer than before. Valari sat by the edge of the pond and removed her gloves. She dipped her hands into the water and closed her eyes. "Do you believe people can change, Kieran?" "I have to believe it," he replied. "Because if we can't change, then this war will never end." Valari looked at him, her eyes thoughtful. "I was raised to see humans as dangerous, wild, greedy. But you shared your shelter. You fed me. You protected me when I had no one." He smiled a little. "I didn't do it for politics." She tilted her head. "Why then?" Kieran hesitated. Then said simply, "Because you needed help, and because I liked you." That surprised her. "You liked me?" "Even when I said I refused the human groom. I liked you because you were strong enough to say no, because you weren't fake, because you didn't act like royalty. You acted like a real person." Valari stared at the water. Then slowly, she removed the small pendant from around her neck. It was made of a glowing crystal shaped like a leaf. "This belonged to my mother," she said. "It carries a memory. Would you like to see it?" Kieran nodded. Valari touched the pendant to his forehead. Wave of light flashed before his eyes. He saw a tall Alari woman smiling as she danced through the garden, laughing with a small silver-haired girl. Her voice was soft and kind, her presence warm. He felt joy, love, and peace all at once. Then fire fell from the sky, screams, smoke, a hand reaching to protect the girl. The vision ended. Kieran opened his eyes, breath heavy. "I saw it," he whispered. "She died trying to shield me," Valari said. "I was 5. I'm so sorry." "She wanted to believe in humans," Valari continued. "That's why she helped build this place with Earth tech. A symbol of hope. She thought love could grow here." "And now you're here again," Kieran said. "So maybe she was right." Valari looked into his eyes. "I don't know what this feeling is, Kieran. It's new to me. My life has been training, duty, orders. But around you, I feel free." He stepped closer, gently touching her arm. "You don't have to call it anything. Just feel it." She leaned against him slightly. Her head rested near his shoulder. They sat in silence, watching the pond. Ripple dot, but peace never lasted long in a war-torn world. A sharp alarm rang from Kieran's scanner. The signal was faint but clear, and a Lari patrol, armed and searching, had entered the old temple tunnels. "They found the path," Valari said, rising to her feet quickly. "Are they here for you?" "They're here to capture me and take me back to the capital. I disobeyed royal command. I refused the marriage pact. That makes me a criminal. Then we need to leave now." Valari looked around the garden. but this is the only safe place left." "No," Kieran said. "Safe isn't a place. It's a person." She stared at him. Her eyes searched his for something. Then she nodded. "Then I will follow you." They packed quickly. Valari left the pendant hanging from a branch near the pond, a quiet goodbye to her mother. Then they escaped through the far tunnel, deeper into the ruins. Above them, the Alari patrol moved slowly. But they were not far behind. Kieran and Valari didn't look back. Not yet. Because ahead of them, through dust and danger, a future waited, one built not by orders or treaties, but by trust. The tunnels twisted like a maze beneath the earth Alari ruins. Kieran's boots hit the stone with quiet speed, but his breath came faster now. Beside him, Valari moved with practiced grace, her crystal armor glowing faintly in the dark. The deeper they went, the more ancient the tunnels became. No one had walked here in years. The walls were lined with rusted technology and markings from a forgotten alliance. Valari paused at a crossway, placing her hand against a scanner. Nothing happened. "The system's dead," she whispered. Kieran pulled out his light tablet and scanned the area. "There's another path, left side. It leads to an old signal tower." She looked at him curiously. "How do you know all this?" "I was a technician before the war. I fixed comms, not fought battles. And now you leave me like a soldier." Kieran gave a tired smile. "War doesn't give time to choose." They turned left, slipping through narrow corridors filled with dust and silence. The tower they searched for stood hidden inside an old Earth Command base, buried during the first Alari strike. As they moved, Valari stayed close. "You know," she said softly, "when I was told I'd be given to a human, I was angry. I thought I'd be owned like a jewel, shown off by a man who wanted power. And now?" Kieran asked. "Now I'm walking beside someone who never asked for anything." He didn't reply. He only reached back, and she took his hand. Minutes later, they reached the sealed base door. Its surface was scorched but still intact. Kieran placed the access panel against the lock, wired in a bypass chip, and waited. With a slow hiss. Door opened. Inside, the base smelled like smoke and cold metal. The walls were covered in old Earth banners, half burnt, forgotten. Kieran activated the tower system and sent out a coded message. "Safe zone compromised. Civilian extraction requested." He didn't expect an answer. Earth forces were scattered. Communication was rare. But he had to try. Valari stood beside him. "They won't come." "No, but it's worth the risk." She placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then I'll take the risk with you." Just then, the base lights flickered, and the screen lit up. An image appeared. A human face, tired, bearded, wounded. It was Commander Hale. "Kieran?" the voice crackled. "We thought you were dead. I'm alive. I've got someone with me and Alari Royal." There was silence. Then, "The princess?" Kieran nodded. "She helped me. She's not the enemy." Commander Hale's face hardened. "You know what she means to them. If we take her in, we can force their surrender." Kieran stepped back. "She's not a hostage. She's with me by choice." "Kieran," the commander said coldly, "you were a tech. You don't get to decide how this ends." Valari narrowed her eyes. "So your leaders still want to use me?" The signal crackled again. "You'll be picked up in 6 hours. Don't let her leave." The screen went black. Kieran turned away, fists tight. "They'll use you just like your people would have used me." Valari's voice was calm. "Then we leave, together. They'll track the signal. We won't get far. Then we do what they don't expect." Kieran stared at her. "What do you mean, I surrender?" "Not to humans, not to Alari, but to peace." He shook his head. "They won't let you speak. They'll silence you. Then you speak with me." Kieran looked into her eyes. "That could get us both killed." She stepped closer. "Or it could end the war." Later, as dawn rose beyond the cracked ceiling of the ruined city, Valari and Kieran stood together in the open plaza of the neutral zone. Broken flags of both worlds waved behind them. A transmission drone hovered above. Kieran activated the broadcast. "This is Kieran Thorne, civilian, survivor, human." Valari stepped beside him. "This is Valari, daughter of the crown, former heir of the Alari Empire." Together, they spoke. "We do not come with weapons, we come with the truth. But neither side wins by burning the other. That kindness is stronger than fear. And that peace starts not with treaties, but with trust." Soldiers watched from a distance. Drones circled above. No one fired. Valari held Kieran's hand as the camera caught every second. She turned. To him, voice low, "If we die for this, we die for something that matters." Then for the first time in decades, both Earth and Alari Command saw something new. Not enemies, not puppets, but two people, hand in hand, standing for something both sides had forgotten. And somewhere deep in both worlds, hope stirred. The broadcast spread faster than either of them expected. Across both human colonies and Alari cities, people stopped and stared at their screens. Soldiers paused on battlefields. Elders in glass towers blinked in surprise. Civilians hiding underground looked up with hope for the first time in years. A human man and an alien princess standing together, not with weapons, but with words. Kieran. And Valari had not moved since the message ended. They stood in the ruins of the neutral zone plaza, hand in hand, waiting to see what came next. It didn't take long. 3 Alari cruisers appeared in the sky, followed by 2 Earth military shuttles. They circled above, silent, watching. For a moment, the whole world seemed to hold its breath. Then a voice echoed from the speakers of both ships, cold, official. "Stand down, both of you. You are to be taken into custody." Valari lifted her chin. "Do you hear that?" she whispered. Kieran nodded. "They still want control," another voice followed, this time human. "Commander Hale. Kieran, I gave you a direct order. Step away from her, now." He didn't move. Instead, Kieran raised his voice, speaking directly to the hovering drones. "You want peace? Then listen. You sent soldiers, bombs, and orders, and the war still burns. What you need is someone willing to risk more than victory. Someone who believes we can live, not just survive." Valari stepped forward. "I am not a bargaining chip. I am not a crown. I am a voice, and I choose peace." There was silence from above. Then a new voice entered the transmission. Old female, come, Valari. "My daughter." Valari froze. Her eyes widened. "Mother?" From one of the Alari ships, the face of an older Alari woman appeared on the screen. Silver hair, golden eyes. Graceful even through the screen. "You were told you'd never rule." "Again," the Empress said. "But what you've done now, no ruler in our history has dared." Valari stepped closer to the camera drone. "I followed my heart. I disobeyed the council, but I didn't stop being Alari." The Empress nodded slowly. "And this human, he stands beside you." Kieran bowed his head slightly. "I didn't save her for power. I helped her because it was right." There was a long pause. Then the Empress spoke again. "Very well. Both of you, return. Under protection. No chains, no lies. Let the people hear you." Kieran blinked. "You'd allow that? I don't want another generation to bury their children in smoke. Come home." The Earth side didn't respond right away. But after a tense minute, Commander Hale's voice returned. "Earth Command agrees. For now, but one mistake, Kieran, and it all burns again." "I understand," Kieran said. Valari turned to him. "Are you ready for what comes next?" "I don't know," he said. "But if you're with me, I'll walk through fire." They stepped aboard a shared transport ship, guarded on both sides but untouched. The journey to the Alari capital took only a few hours, but it felt like crossing an entire lifetime. When they arrived, the city shone in gold and blue crystal towers. Once, it had been a place of fear for humans. Now one of them stood in its heart, beside the woman he once thought was his enemy. The hall was filled with both Alari and human leaders. Kieran and Valari walked in, side by side. No one spoke. Then Valari raised her voice. "I was born a princess, trained to rule through silence and obedience. But I learned that real power is not in command, it is in compassion." Kieran followed. "I wasn't born to lead, I only knew machines. But now I know that healing starts with one act of kindness." One hand held out, not raised. The Empress stood, raising her hand. "Let this moment be the start of something new. Let the marriage once meant to be a weapon become a symbol of peace." Gasps filled the hall. Valari turned to Kieran, surprised. "You knew?" Kieran smiled. "I guessed." She looked at him, searching for fear in his face, but found none. He extended his hand. "This time, it's your choice." Valari smiled a full, radiant smile. She took his hand, and in that moment, war lost its power. It didn't end in one day. Treaties took time. Walls didn't fall in a flash. But something changed. One Alari, one human. One bond that melted centuries of hate, not because of strength, but because of kindness.